Hello again! I'm back from my holiday and decided to jump headfirst into some controversy by discussing a common hot topic in the DC/BatClan fandom, namely the no-killing rule and the tension that sometimes exists between various fans over it. The tension that I mentioned, if oversimplified, tends to manifest in people questioning why Batman doesn't kill or allow certain villains to die, and others explaining some variation of murder bad. I think though that these discussions often miss why people raise the question, so as someone who is fine with said rule but thinks it's poorly executed, please follow me on a journey. First, let's define the general reasons why Batman does not kill. Type 1. Batman occupies a legally nebulous position, and so him specifically going that far is a problem. Type 2. Killing is wrong. He believes in restorative justice, he values all life, it's not his place to kill. Type 3. Bruce was traumatized by the death of his parents and can't allow others to die, or he's so close to snapping one wrong move and he'll become a serial killer. Of the above, I think there's tension among fans with all these takes. Type 1. Pragmatic legalism seems to be the easiest to execute, but I don't think I've ever seen it done without Bruce also moralizing. A good example would be when he takes issue with a woman who took down a serial killer that killed her sister and was otherwise going to get off scot-free by doing nothing but being ready to defend herself when he attacked her. To say that the comic handled this subject very poorly would be an understatement. Now on to Type 2. Killing is wrong. The reason people take issue with this is because it is often viewed as him being varying degrees of hypocritical. Even if we gloss over the fact that many of the injuries we see him gleefully inflict on criminals would, by all rights, be lethal, the fact of the matter is Batman is also an ally of the police who kill all the time. If he believes in restorative justice, why is he often so brutal and outright cruel? Also, let's be real here, the American penal system is shit at reducing crime and instead tends to radicalize even non-violent people when it doesn't just kill them. One could say it's a comic and therefore not meant to be totally realistic, i.e. the police not sucking, but I find this to be a weak claim. These stories have always reflected a lot about the world we live in, from the prevalence and power of the mafia in the early comic days to the war on drugs in the early 2000s. You can't just disconnect it from the material reality of police and the prison system entirely or so easily and still retain coherence. Also, do you really want comics to become more propaganda-like? Then there's Bruce valuing all life to the point of saving even the Joker. This isn't bad, but when it gets to the point where he outright brings the Joker back from the dead or otherwise actively harms or even risks killing others to save him, many feel it goes from being a morally sound stance to Bruce enabling the Joker to keep killing. I.e. when he slit Jason's throat to save the Joker or revived him after Dick killed him, or the other times he's outright brought the Joker back from the dead. Yes, it's happened more than once somehow. The Joker would then go on to kill more people. Obviously the Joker is responsible for his own actions, but the frustration does make sense to me. On the other hand, it just not being his place is fine by me, though it can still run headlong into bad execution, as seen with the above examples. The issue with Type 3, i.e. he's just really messed up, is much simpler. Namely, because it's either Bruce then enforcing his will on the world solely because of his own undealt with trauma, often in such a way that comes at others' expense, see the Joker examples, or it's that Bruce is literally so dangerously close to the edge that frankly he should not be out there being Batman if him going mass murder on everyone is such a concern. Plus, we again circle back to the previous issues, i.e. he works with a system that kills people or ruins and destroys lives but is fine with it. Because the thing is, death via the cop's bullet in a cell or because your caretakers are now in prison and you starved on the streets, those are all still deaths. Also, please don't bring up the Wayne Foundation, partially just because it's not super relevant but always seems to get brought up in these discussions, but also because even ignoring its irrelevance here, the Foundation's presence and usage in Batman media is pretty wild and varied. It also cannot and does not magically address all these issues even in its best incarnations, and in its worst ones, it's literally doing stuff like hosting fundraisers for the police. Long story short, in my eyes, the issue is less why not kill, killing is easy, and more given these various factors, the fact that Bruce does not kill feels incoherent, hypocritical, or he does the same/similar amounts of damage regardless, or is just too dangerous to be trusted regardless. Which I think is a much more interesting conversation to be having if one wants to. Thanks for stopping by.